All right. Welcome, Grigoris. This is Being Heard podcast. And I'm committed that every voice is heard, even my own. And welcome to Being Heard.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Tom.
Yeah. And what we're going to talk about today is the 7P's. And the 7P's, you don't have to memorize these. I'll just run through them real quick. But passion, perseverance, perspective, priorities, purpose, patience, and prayer. And I've got a question for each of them, and I might deepen them depending on how it goes. So
Okay.
the first one, well, first of all, let's get a little bit related. I know you know me, and I know you, and for everybody else, tell us about yourself and what you do, and whatever you want to create as a plug for yourself.
Okay. Wow. Um, so I've been a serial entrepreneur for 35 years. I've been the CEO and president of building my own companies, usually from scratch and usually from zero funding. I've funded all my own companies for many years. I originally started out wanting to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. And shortly after there, my father passed, and I transformed that thought process into, maybe I should just go into business because medicine isn't Star Trek yet. And my journey has been a phenomenal one. I didn't have any mentors, although I was looking for mentors. Not many people had time, so I reinvented the wheel. What does it look like to be in business? What does it look like to build a company from nothing? And I got really present to what I created in the world actually after I had been in the team management leadership program with you. And I actually had the opportunity to take a hard look at what I created globally. And one of those was after 9/11. My job was to actually create a standard for emergency responders and how to actually respond to the Bacillus anthracis or anthrax problems that people were having. And emergency responders, my background was environmental sciences, biological, and I became an expert in it. Built a company around that. I built another company called eTech, and eTech was microbiologist certified industrial hygienist, and I solved a problem that was missing for this situation at the time, because the CDC couldn't respond until 72 hours, where our team could respond within hours. Shortly after that, I worked with Fort Campbell in Nashville, Tennessee, and created, these guys actually created what I was already in the process of creating. That being said, some years later, I actually worked with Vice President Biden, and through a liaison, I created the standard operating protocol, standard operating procedures for the Ebola crisis worldwide. I created the international protocol. Within a few days, needless to say, it was implemented. I didn't think much of it because I didn't have a PhD after my name. So I thought it was something that was hidden from me, and I really got present to it. And then I went into technology was always there, and I'm rebuilding my technology company, and we've built some programs that is going to transform how people do things on a daily basis and remind them and organize them really simply. Technology doesn't have to be complicated. It can be really simple. And it really juices me because I really get the team that I've built, our chief scientist, our CTO, the sales teams, the people who are part of this organization and that have supported it really are just amazing human beings. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to work with them. And so my life now at 56, I'm starting to see a new regeneration of what's possible, even more so. in my 50s. And that's when I got my training, really was in my early 50s. So
Awesome. This is so good. I appreciate you getting into the detail and actually sharing the great stuff that you've covered already in your life. And I know that there's more to come. And for right now, I'm curious about passion. And so passion, how do you take actions to increase your passion?
you know, okay, so for me, passion is an emotional part of the process. And what I look at is my commitment to it every day. And there are certain days I just do not feel like doing what I've been doing. It's endurance.
Uh-huh.
Part of the passion, I think the underlining current is really that endurance and that commitment that you create.
Cool. It's a new way to look at it, and I appreciate it. The next one is perseverance. What is worth so much? No, this is okay. So here's the deal. There's this. I'm going to ask questions, and they're going to be a little bit off the wall. And so here it comes. What's worth so much that you would push through anything to have? And that's your perseverance.
What would that thing be?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be multiple.
Well, for me, that would be salvation. That's a religious stand, and I don't usually bring that up very uh, as part of the process, but really being that model and that person being in the world, in the universe of who am I for others? Because I cause them of what comes out of my mouth. I cause them by who I'm being.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really is one of the major things is, I don't want to quote my wife how she says it, but she said, if you creep in the background, you'll be a creep everywhere. Right. So, that's, I just believe in integrity, being responsible. And perseverance really is the endurance of that. It is, I'm going to throw it metaphorically, playing
Sure.
a game that's free where you could pay for that application so that you could get a better position, right? You could just go past it, blast past it, pay for it, and you've got all this extra help. Or you could just endure through it and play that game. And it's not about the freebie part of it. It really is about who you are being for it. What's your importance, your level of importance that you put to things,
Yeah.
and how you see things. It's enduring past the conversation of, I'm upset with you. It's enduring past the conversation of, you can't do it. And everybody said so. I've had that so many times. You can't build your companies. Why? Well, you have no money. Got it. It really took a toll,
Yeah.
and you move past it. So it's how many times you get up. It's not how many times you're knocked down. That doesn't mean anything. It's really focusing on the generative basis of things. And that's what I really think is the most important thing.
Cool. That's so cool. And I heard a commitment to learning. You didn't say it, and that's what I heard. It's like you're committed to creating understanding, a deepening that is almost novel.
Yeah, I'll share that I'm actually reading a book every day, every 2 days now. Just anything to actually give me insight as to what I'm up to presently, not something that happened in the past, but really a moment by moment phenomenon, as you and I have been trained in. And that really has taken a new understanding for me, a new awareness that I get to have those conversations every day, and then learn as much as possible. So yes, education is a big deal. But there are things that I don't know that I
Yeah.
don't know. And there are things that I know that I don't know. And so the things that I don't know that I don't know, that's where my team comes in. And the things that I know that I don't know, that's my awareness of, okay, this is what I think I've got to do. Let's give it a shot.
Because I know who you are. How about the things that
Oh, yeah.
you don't know that you know? You ever surprise yourself?
Yes.
Oh
And I
my
go,
gosh, where did that
how did I
come
do
from?
this?
Why am I talking like a lawyer?
Exactly. How did I
Yeah.
do that? How is it that there was a moment in time that my identity showed up and I had no clue about that, but then now I've given myself access to actually produce the results that I'm looking for. And yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Cool. The next one's perspective.
Mm.
Would shifting your perspective change your level of joy in the moment?
Yeah, this is really great. Perspective for me is the awareness between a wedding and a funeral. So let me say more about that. You're at a funeral and your perspective is saddened, but you're not plugged into anything. There's nothing that you are ever plugged into. What I mean by that is nothing is actually driving your emotional state. You are driving your emotional state. You could literally be happy at a funeral if you so choose to be. It's a structure that we've all created. There is an awareness that a loved one, somebody who is close to us, is no longer there. That's a structure that we created. And I'm not saying that you should be happy that somebody passed, because it's going to take some time, right, to heal that void, as it were. At a wedding, you're happy, but you could be sad too. And I think as human beings, no one ever gave us a book that said, this is how you operate. This is how you look, right? This is what you do. So your perspective should be a certain way. And I think that's really the driving force of every entrepreneur, every person that lives on this earth is, what perspective do we see things? From what point of view do I see happiness? What point of view do I see sadness? And then how do I get myself out of those structures? So that, yeah, I get to choose which feeling I get to have at any time. And it doesn't matter what the external stimuli says to me, what other people are saying to me, I get to say, and I get to choose as a leader, as a person being and causing others how I feel and what I think and what I say. But I'm responsible 100% right here. So my perspective is always looking at where am I? And it's the awareness that gives us that stability. I really believe that. I really do believe that our awareness is the one that says, well, wait a minute, you're a little down. Oh, got it. Nothing's happened. Nobody's touched you. Nobody's given you a bloody nose. So why should I be sad? Um, and those, again, I go back to the structure of it. What do the structures that we live in look like? I've contemplated this. Recently, we've had about 44 deaths in our family in 1 year. Some from COVID, others from mishaps. My uncle, he was 97. My other uncle, he was 89. They passed for whatever those situations were. And those are people that I spoke to every single day. And somebody asked me the question, aren't you sad? And I said, absolutely. It breaks my heart that they're no longer here. I'm not connected to a machine that says you have to stay in that state of mind. I get to celebrate them. I get to celebrate what they left with me as a legacy.
Yeah. Thank you. Had no idea where this question would have taken us, and I'm grateful for the path you went. And so now I'll get to the next one, priorities.
Um,
Oh, wait. Did I just ask that?
no, we didn't get to that.
Priorities. Are your priorities up, setting you up for success in joy and creating more joy? Let me hit that again. Are
Yeah.
your priorities setting you up for success in creating more joy? The cadence matters on that one.
Um, so priority for me are those values. Something I was always putting off were values, actually identifying my values. I didn't realize to what extent actually my values were positioning me
Mm-hmm.
or manipulating my position of how I do things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example that my value for family is really important. Integrity is a really big deal. I noted that when I have the value of that, it's really simple to say that if I have I'll go back to perspective, right? That someone's manipulating the conversation, but they don't realize they are. It's sort of like a betrayal, is how I would take it, right? So priorities are so important, especially in the value section for me. It's what is it I'm committed to? I have a board on my left. I don't even want to show you this board because I've written a ton of my thoughts on it. I've got my to-dos, but it's always a reminder of those things that are so important to me that I have to be focusing on every moment of the day. And part of it is because I'm human. So priority is a big deal. And I prioritize my day. I use the Franklin Planner. I have for years since I was 16 years old. And it's been a great tool so that I can focus on the things that are important but not urgent. I never get into the urgent and important aspects. So what I mean by that is when you prioritize, you plan and you prepare, things are ready to go. You show up 10 minutes early for a call. You're not renting space or have your you're not burning cells to identify that, oh my gosh, I was late, or oh my gosh, I was out of integrity, or oh my gosh, I wasn't being responsible for this. I don't have those conversations. I get to be in communication and I get to prioritize my day through the tools that I think that every person really needs.
Yeah. So it's so fun because you're already like you. We'll just keep going with the questions as they're written because
Sure.
it's a discovery process for me. And so purpose, is your ladder up against the right wall?
That's a double-edged sword right there. I often wonder to myself whether my ladder is up the right wall. And I'll say it this way, that through the dedication, through your commitments, through your relationship building, you really get present to where you're at, because really where you're at is perfect. It's exactly where you're supposed to be. And there are times where I feel like I missed the bus. I'll give you an example of that. For the last 20 years, I've been predicting the technology curve. It's frustrating to see companies come out with your technology that you predicted. And you're saying, what should I have just gone to work for that company? Should I have just done this? And I think really, could things have been done differently? Yes, but I can't go backwards. So the past is what the past is. It's just a chemical reaction now in my head. So where I'm at is perfect. It's where I need to be. And so I take it moment by moment and I generate what I see is the next step.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at how am I being effective or not effective, and then I gauge it by that. So I create, I plan, and really planning is everything, and then I execute.
Yeah. And the follow-on question, and I don't know how it works, and I'm bolting it on because it doesn't fit.
Okay.
It's what are you building with it?
Thanks, Tom. What am I building with it?
I mean, I have it written. I can show you it's written.
No, I believe you. I believe you. What I'm building with it is I'm producing the opportunity for the world to have simple technology. What I'm building with it is producing software and hardware that will transform how people do and think about their lives. Because really, it comes down to what we said before, and that was values. What do you value most? And is that a priority?
Mm-hmm.
Creating those priorities, it's really important that we understand, for me, it's family.
Yeah.
Do I have enough time for my kids? If I develop technology that creates that in a scalable way and gives every person, every device user the opportunity to simplify their life, make more money, that to me would, really, it's a goal. It's giving people the opportunity to focus on their communications with each other in this world and beyond, and on Earth and beyond, I should say.
Yeah. So what I heard you say, just if I got it right, you're creating efficiencies in people's lives so they can focus on communication with people around them here and away.
I love how you said that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. I heard you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next one is patience.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there areas? Here's my question.
Go ahead.
So the long pregnant pause is kind of I love to fish. And so it's like waiting for the fish to nibble. And so I put patience out there and you nibbled a little. And so are there areas where you don't have patience?
Oh yeah.
And is there a pattern that shows?
There was one time I would pray for many months for patience,
Yeah.
and things wouldn't show up at all and for a long time. And I decided I will never pray for patience again. um, I think you get that right, Tom.
I do. Absolutely. Thank you.
So are there things that I'm impatient about? Absolutely. There are times when I can get into that morass, really the swamp. I'm a visionary integrator.
Okay.
So I'm not just a visionary. Visionaries tend to get into the morass a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Integrators, it's all about the detail, and that's complicated too. I'm a little bit of both. I have awareness to go, oh, I'm getting into the detail. I need to get out of it a little bit and make this simple. So, yeah, I think I'm impatient? Yeah. There are times when my project, it just seems like it's going on and on and on and on and on and on. And I want to share that when I take on injected values from others
Mm-hmm.
is when I really listen, and then I'll implement certain things. And then when I find out that there's somebody else that will counteract the other person's suggestion or advice, that really makes me impatient. And I'm like, I spent all this time. I wasted my time. Was it wasted? Not always.
Mm-hmm.
But I do get impatient about that. And so what I realized is Now I get to take people's injected values on a good and bad level. I get to take it in awareness and then implement what I see as necessary, what I see as correct. So yes, on a daily basis, I'll get impatient. My kids reading, writing skills. Oh my gosh, how come he's not getting this or whatever that looks like? And that's part of my, of course, as you know, Tom, the identity part.
Can I interject a joke?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So I saw a cartoon. It was like, and the math teacher said I would never have a calculator with me. I have to learn this. Right.
Isn't that the truth? And you and I grew up in that, by the way.
I know. So
I
it's like I can
experienced
do all
that
this stuff.
firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced that firsthand.
So
Go
no,
ahead.
no, the last one is prayer. And so now this one is, I admit, leading. And it is like, well, I'll just leave it with leading and go into it. Um, do you ever use a prayer where you're proud of what you've done, where you're grateful for what you have, for you prayer for your desire, and prayer for what you love about yourself?
Mm. So, yes to the second and third. I always am grateful. That was the first thing that always comes out of my mouth. So grateful for my family. I'm so blessed to have them, my children, my wife, especially, just my best friend. So grateful because I realize there are a lot of people struggling with that, and they don't have that. You don't realize how much you're blessed until you take a look. Um, and the second is always asking in prayer to God for guidance and wisdom to support me and how to support the people that are with me, to help them and their families. So yeah, prayer is a big thing for me, and it's something that I do all day long. I had a dear friend. She just lost her mother yesterday, and she took a flight to Arizona. I didn't know she was leaving for Arizona, and we were going to drive up just to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
And my prayer for her is just to comfort her, support her, to know that we're around, and God's grace on her. So yeah, it's just really praying for that. And then also I do pray about the business aspect of it, and to bless it, and to move the conversation so that we can support people, really help them throughout that process.
Yeah. Thank you for your generosity. There's sometimes uncomfortable questions and edgy, and it's intentional to create an opening for you to look in a way that's not typical. And what would you like to be acknowledged for?
I would like to be acknowledged for when people say you can't do it, that I'm still here, that I'm still moving the conversation. I'll say this, that I'm a believer that when people say it can't be done, I will say, please step aside so that let's take a look and see if it can be done. I see possibility where others not always see possibility. And that's what I would like to be acknowledged for.
Okay. I'll sprinkle a couple more in because that's what I do. So Gregorius, I acknowledge you for just being a stand of curiosity, of looking when somebody goes, hey, there's no way. And you take on, well, maybe there is. And you look for the greatness that can come. You look to invent something new that doesn't exist yet. You're out to ask the question that hasn't been asked yet. And you find the answer that hasn't been answered yet. Yes, we can do it. And you create this space where you and your company can exist in peace and everybody can get what they need, like for fulfillment. And thank you for who you are in the world.
Thank you, Tom. That's great. That's great. Thank you for that. What do you want to be acknowledged for?
Oh, wow. Holding space for people to show up and shine in their greatness.
Uh, Tom, there is a space that you hold for people in humility to allow them to show their greatness, even though some people don't believe that they have it. You really address those for them and pull that forward so that others can see their greatness and the love that they have for people and the world. And it really takes somebody really unique and special to do that. Not everyone has that gift. You are the utterance of patience. You are the epitome of that threshold that takes people to really get an awareness of who they are becoming for not only themselves, but for others. And your listening, your ability to see past it is above reproach. And I'm so grateful for, number one, to get to know you, our friendship. I'm so grateful that there are people like you in the world that allow others to shine. And that really, I'll say that I heard it from a monastic from the Greek Orthodox Church, and he said that humility is nobility. That really stuck with me. I got really present because that's who you are. Thank you for that.
Move me. Thank you. I got the truth bumps. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. You're that guy, buddy. You're that guy.
Thank you for seeing me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know who you are.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to stop it here.